Yeah, good everyone. My name's Greg. There's a point for me saying this. I'll get to it. I'm just the ordinary garden variety Aussie country bloke, um, with a good common sense, sense of what's up, what's down, what's right, what's wrong, and um, treat other people how I like to be treated, care and kindness and love for myself and for other people. A fairly decent upbringing, and a passion for the country and for horses. Just your normal, average garden variety Aussie bloke, really. Um, and I've just been watching what's been going on over in America and starting to happen in Canada, and it's just so sad, really. Just to see especially in America, how you're just kind of tearing yourself apart from the inside out. Where your political system is, and how toxic and out of control that is. And what's happening now, all that transgender, non-binary nonsense, and how the Biden administration is just jumping on that vehicle to create dollars for pharmaceutical companies, which ensures the backing for the politicians and their parties and to get laws passed and have their big ticker tape parades and all the funding and that they get from the pharmaceutical companies. They pretty much got those politicians in their back pocket. It's no different to what it was with the gun laws and the NRA and also the petroleum companies and all that from years ago. Like I first started seeing it. Um, got a smell of it really like when 9/11 happened. You guys got together. It didn't matter whether you were black or white or what your political party was or what you know the color of your skin or your ethnicity or anything like that. It didn't matter. It was just like, no, that's wrong. Let's change it. And you did that. So now it's pretty much fairly impossible for anybody to kind of hijack a plane and take weapons on and stuff. But the rest of your system over there, rest of your society, and the justice system and the legal system and the education system and the health system and the political system is just corrupt and toxic and out of control. And I don't know, you guys seem to be okay with that. Mind you, too, that because when all that stuff happened with 9/11 and then Bush, and I think Bush did, might have been Obama, Bush invaded Iraq. And on one sense, I could see why that was. It was just kind of some retaliation for what bin Laden done um, to invade Iraq and topple that, whatever that guy's name was, the leader of Iraq, um, who was found in that little dugout thing and was hung. Um, Big eyebrows. I can't remember his name. That even that. It was kind of some retaliation in America showing their military might and all that. But the underlying thing was it was all about the oil. That's what it was really about. So America could get their hands on the oil over there. And that came to be proved. But all that stuff was kind of behind the curtain and in the background and that seedy underbelly, and you didn't really know what was going on. But then when Obama came in and you guys got bin Laden and all that, which was awesome. And when that happened, everybody's in the streets dancing and like, yes, go to America. And it didn't matter your political party or your colour of your skin or what what your beliefs were. Everyone got together and it was beautiful. But then everything went back to normal, back to being toxic. Like when you had all those mass shootings at Sandy Hook in Newtown, when all those preschool kids got killed, and in the picture theatres over there, and all the black people getting killed by police, and um, and at the high schools when you had those delusional nut jobs just wiping out heaps of people. And I remember seeing a few things with Obama and how emotional he looked when he had a lot of the families there that had lost their children in Sandy Hook and Newtown, and whether it was Democrat or Republican, I believe the majority was to change the gun laws, to get rid of assault weapons off the nobody could buy them, and that if you had and that there was a background check to be put in place. And if you had a criminal record and all that, you had to go through all these checks and balances and jump through hula hoops to even get considered to have a gun license. And they couldn't get it passed. They couldn't get it through. And nothing changed. That's when I really saw that it stopped coming behind the curtain and it was just out in the open. And how ineffective the American vote was now over there. That the majority voted to change the gun laws, but because of the financial backing that the political parties had and that the gun lobby had or NRA had, that it was more about the dollars than human lives, than American citizens. That's when I went, oh, okay, that's scary, dangerous. And it's the same now with all this transgender nonsense. Like the Biden administration doesn't give a damn about the transgender people or the non-binary people or their rights or passing laws for their benefit. It's not about them at all. They couldn't give. There's just money in it. That's the only reason. It's the same as the petroleum companies. You know, they got the politicians in their back pocket. The political system is shaped to suit the big major companies who's waving the biggest dollar bill. And whatever political party is in will put spokespeople and heads of department or whatever into humanitarian groups, into ecosystem groups, where it used to be, well, hang on, no, you can't do that here. You can't put your oil rig here or look for gas or whatever, or for coal or whatever, because there's endangered species here. And that used to have some bite and some power to it, but now they don't, because they've made it kind of, you know, inadequate. They've made it inadequate now, so that whatever political party is in office in term over there, they just put their heads of that, you know, like their people in there, so that there's not much resistance. So it takes the power away from that group, you know, because they'll go, yeah, no worries, because it's the backing from the petroleum companies that fund the political parties so they can get the laws passed, so they can have the big, you know, ticker tape parades and for the cost of them to run the ads and all the rest of it. That's what it's about now. That's how corrupt and toxic the political system is. And it showed itself with what Trump and Bush did. And to get that funding so that, you know, most money in America goes on their defense system, rather than, you know, like your humanitarian groups or your ecosystem groups, where you like to study new ways, like, you know, for solar energy or whatever it is, whatever studies, like, you know, you strip the funding out of that and chuck it on buying another 15 stealth fighters or whatever, you know. It's towards all that kind of stuff. And now it's the same with Biden, that they're jumping on the vehicle of the transgender. They don't give a damn about transgender people and all that. They're just like, there's money in it. That opens the door to pass all those laws to create generations of, get the fringe people in, and all those extreme right and extreme left people, and all the fringe dwellers in, and to create generations of so-called transgender or fringe groups in the futures, which secures, ensures mega funding for the pharmaceutical companies, which secures, ensures mega funding for political parties for their campaigns and their to get their laws passed, and for things that happen like with the gun laws and all that not being changed, so that things can be blocked at nearly every level, so whatever party's in can get their way to open it up for whoever's waving the biggest dollars about. That's the way I see it. If there's no money in it with the pharmaceutical companies, then they wouldn't give a damn about the transgender and non-binary people. And like we're saying with what happened with the gun laws and what happened to American citizens just being wiped out in mass. Same now with your sportswomen and your sports girls and the school kids over there. That the American government, the Biden administration, doesn't give a damn about, those human beings. Because now biological males who identify as a female can compete in biological female events. So all those young girls and all those women that weren't maybe Miss Popular at school or, in the cool crew, they had that to get their self-worth, to get their way forward, to have their crew, to get some good sense of identity and some sense of achievement by being a part of a team and competing in events and hanging out together and all that and bettering themselves. And the families that support them, take them across town or across county or across state or across country or internationally to compete in whatever their field of sports is. To have their own space and place, to thrive and grow wings and fly, and now that's just been stripped away. And the Biden administration doesn't care about any of that. All those girls, all those families, all those kids that are being mutilated you get some delusional parent that thinks they're transgender or non-binary, and their boy might have an interest in playing with Barbie girls or talking about, be a bit more feminine or have an interest in wearing dresses or something, and whatever, playing tea parties or something, and they go, oh, you must be a girl. I've got the way forward to get him a sex change as a 7 or 8 year old. For some young kid that's not fully developed emotionally, physically, psychologically, or mentally, or spiritually, or in any way, has no sense of self or identity. With that parent, that delusional nut job that takes them in and says, yeah, right, I want my boy changed into a girl. Yeah, no worries, give us 50 grand, too easy, done. We'll give him a sex change, we'll give him all the puberty and hormone blockers and screw him up totally, because that's what you want. So that young boy, 15, 20 years down the track, when he has grown and matured and has some sense of self and some emotional and physical and psychological and mental maturity, he's lying on the beach and he sees some beautiful girl in a costume and he feels the attraction and he understands, has the insight and awareness to know what that's all about, and realizes, I'm not a girl. I was just entrenched in all that nonsense my parents were going on with. And, I got sucked in and now I can't do nothing about it because everything's been changed within my physiology. So I'm screwed. And he goes home and blows his head off. And the Biden administration and the people in power and the people in those medical centers, they know that. The pharmaceutical companies know that. But they don't care. The same with all the when when all those kids were being killed at Sandy Hook and Newtown. They knew that they should change the gun laws, but they didn't care because there's no dollars in changing the gun laws. You know, there's no dollars in caring about people's feelings or human life, or kids' lives, or their well-being, or their futures, or them developing or America going forward, or any of that. That's been left way back there somewhere in your history. You know, any connection to what your Bill of Rights and your Constitution and what your forefathers meant, what being a Republican really meant, what being a Democrat really meant, what having truth and morals and substance and principles, what it really means to be a human being and have a love and care and conscience for yourself and your fellow man over there, or what bearing arms and the Fourth Amendment really means and stands for, about protecting the innocent. All that's just been left back there somewhere because there's no dollars in that. And the American system, political system, is set up so it's all about getting as much money as quickly as possible and clearing the way so that those pharmaceutical companies can, or whatever the big companies want, can get what they want the way they want it as soon as possible, which ensures them funding and backing that political system or that political party in place. And I first saw that when I saw Obama. Like I said, he had the majority of the vote. Everybody believed he was going to make a change, but he went into that political system in America, and it couldn't even put a dent on gun laws. Couldn't change a damn thing. And it's just the same now. But now, back then, it was kind of that seedy underbelly, and it was under the carpet and behind the curtain. Now it's, since Trump, it's just there for all to see. Everyone knows it. And it's tearing the fabric. It's really starting to tear the fabric of your society and your country apart. And nobody cares. Or the people that do care, that can see it unfolding, can't do a damn thing about it. And those people who are doing it know that. And that's why I reckon it's just out in the open now. Because the system just clears the way so they can do what they want when they want. You know, you got kids, 6 or 7, coming home from school saying, Mum, there's this dress code now that incorporates transgender and so-called non-binary people, and our teacher was telling us about, you know, that girls aren't necessarily girls and boys aren't necessarily boys. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? And they're like, what? So they go to school, their kids' school, and go, what's going on? You know, this is wrong. And they sit up there on the school boards and they can talk all they want and say how wrong it is. Their only solution to it, because it's too late now. The horse is bolted. It's in there, and once it's in there, you got no chance in getting it out. Is to take the kids out of school and put them into a school that isn't affected by that, and that most probably at some point will. You know, it's like what's happening in Canada. They're starting to follow what's going on in America now, where it's illegal. If you can't just address a person as a he or a she, or you got to address them by their pronouns, or you can be arrested. Like, seriously? You know, if one of my friends came up to me and said, Greg, from now on I'm cat, and I want you to, my preferred pronoun is feline, and fur, or, you know, or purr or furball, and that's how I want you to address me, I'd be like, really? You're not right, mate. There's something really wrong with you and you need therapy. Because I love and care about my friend. It's like, I'm not going to enable your delusion or agree with your BS. That's my right as an independent human being. Yet over in Canada, free speech and being an independent human being with your own feelings and your own thoughts, and being accountable and responsible for yourself no longer matters. That now you have to be accountable and responsible for somebody else's feelings, for their issues, for their delusion, or you'll be arrested. You can be arrested for it. It's insane. It's not Canadians' job to take care of somebody else's feelings or their issues or their fears or their sense of self or identity. It's the other person's job. I'd be doing my friends a disservice if I said, okay, you're a cat and from now on I'll call you feline. It's not about respect. It's about being real. It's about being honest. It's not enabling someone's delusion. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. It's irrational. There's no logic or truth to, or honesty or substance to any of it. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about with what in America and the systems over there. You've lost all solid ground. You're floating off in the wind, and it's starting to happen in America where you're losing touch with the ground and with reality by what they're doing with pronouns. That you've got to address somebody by their preferred pronouns, and they may change week to week, day to day, month to month, year to year. Yet it's still illegal to just go, screw you, dude, you're off chops. I can clearly see you're a biological male. You're not a female. And that's the solid ground, and that's the truth, and that's the reality of it, regardless of how delusional screwed up you are. But there's no dollars in that. And that's the start of that. So there must be some funding that political party is getting, the Trudeau or whatever his name is, who's in power in Canada, that their political party is getting by that being the case. And where they're getting it from, I don't know, and whether it's a petroleum company or a pharmaceutical company or a psychological conglomerate or whatever mega company it is, I don't know, but I'm sure it's got something to do with that, because that's how it is in America. Currently, it's a pharmaceutical company, where in the past it was, petroleum companies and pesticide companies and whoever's backing the the National Rifle Association in America. That the truth and nuts and bolts and the solid ground of what the Fourth Amendment, the right to bear arms, truly meant, has been disconnected from that, and what the forefathers meant to just be plucked out of the air at any time as a quick fix feel good, where it's got nothing to do whatsoever with what the forefathers meant about the right to bear arms, about protecting the innocent against those nut jobs who want to go and shoot up kids at schools and all the rest of it. It's to protect the innocent. It's not about some drug king or nut job to have access to an assault weapon, whether he's got a criminal history or not, and just go wipe out heaps of people. It's not about that. That everyone's got a right to have a gun. Like that happened over here in Australia with 25, 30 years ago in a place in Tasmania, that little bit that hangs off the bottom of Australia, at a place called Port Arthur, and there was this guy, Martin Bryant, that just went through Port Arthur and killed like 25, 30 people, something like that, 25, 30 years ago. And we didn't get a chance to vote on it. The little Australian citizens, we didn't even get a chance to vote on it. The Liberal Party, the Labor Party, the justice system, the police system, the legal system, all the parties that needed to be involved got involved and said, right, that's out of control. What do we do? And the first thing they did was that it was now illegal to have any kind of assault weapon and other guns that were rapid fire or something like that. And it was against the law to own them, and they did this big recall where they were just brought together and they were destroyed. And anybody that didn't do it, that were found out to have one, would get heavy charges. And they changed the gun laws that if you had a criminal history regardless of what it was, that you had to get all these checks and balances and jump through hoops to even get a look in at having a gun license. And even now, like if some farmer wanted to go and shoot feral pigs or wild dogs on his property, he has to get all these checks and balances, and somebody from, the Department of Parks and Wildlife will come out and hear what he's got to say, and he'll get this full background check done on him and all that, just to be able to shoot feral pigs and wild dogs on his very own property. That's how strict it is. And this is 25, 30 years later. We don't take it lightly. It's things are put in place so it doesn't ever happen again. And that was 25, 30 years ago, and it's never happened once. Yet over there, you guys are like, no, doesn't matter that heaps of kids are wiped out. We're not going to change a damn thing. And even if you wanted to, you couldn't, because there's no dollars in that. And it's the same now with all this, how so many Americans, women and girls, have now got to compete in sports events with biological males who identify as a woman and share their dressing rooms and locker rooms and bathrooms with them because they identify as a woman. They just don't care about them or their families or their rights or their privacy or their dignity, because there's no money in that. The money's in the pharmaceutical companies and creating generations of delusional nut jobs who will go and get that, pay 25, 50 grand to get a sex change and take all the hormone and puberty blockers and maintain that. That's where the money is. And that's what the political party, like the Biden administration, is clearing the way with all the people they've got in place throughout, that would in Congress, in the humanitarian and the Justice Department and the legal department and whatever department that would get in the way of those pharmaceutical companies getting what they want when they want, to create the least resistance so they can get what they want when they want, which ensures they'll continue to get the backing and the funding from the pharmaceutical companies for their, for their political parties, for their political agenda, whatever it is, to buy as many votes, to get laws passed, to get all the media, all the ads done, and whatever else they need that costs them dollars. Like over here, if like we had race riots 7 or 8 years ago, and you had people from the Labor Party or the Liberal Party that crossed the floor to vote against their own party to get laws put in place so that could never happen again. And 7 or 8 years ago, and all the ethnic groups got involved. There was no fighting about what to do. There was, right, this is what we should do, how do we get there? And they went about that. Over there, you don't even get to look at that. You won't even cross the floor because you'll be demonized if you do. If you're a Republican and you don't like what your party's doing, to go across to the Democrat Party and vote for something, or vice versa. Or, this is what we need to do. Like with the gun thing, this is what we need to do. We need to change this law and that law. You guys don't even get to that. You're caught up in all the BS in it. You don't even get to the nuts and bolts of it because there's no money in that. So you'll have all these insane arguments and debates that go nowhere, just round and round and round and round in circles, so that nothing gets done. And the human beings, the American citizens, regardless of being male or female or white or black or brown or yellow or green or whatever, they're the ones paying for it. Their vote doesn't count anymore. America doesn't care. That political system doesn't care about the American people. And even if the politician did, like Obama and I'm sure so many other American politicians who get in there and want to fight for the constituents and their area or their party and have good heart and soul and grassroots beliefs in what they're doing, won't even make a dent, because the system that they're going in to be involved in is so corrupt and toxic, so detached from anything that relates to substance or truth or honesty or what the Constitution really means, what the Bill of Rights really means, or what being a Democrat or Republican really means, or what your forefathers really meant, or what your state, what your your town or county wants, because there's no dollars in it. You become part of that system that just all that stuff's been left in the background somewhere. And it's all about the smoke and mirrors and the bells and whistles and the dollar bill. Blows me away. You're destroying the fabric of your society and the infrastructure of your society from the inside out. And they say about, and it's been proven through history, that societies do that. They implode. They destroy themselves. It's like those people that are self-loathing. They tear themselves apart and they become dead, the walking dead, non-human beings, so to speak. And that's what America's done. That I see the only way for you guys is to strip everything back to basics. Get back to what it really means, to what your forefathers really meant with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and what it really means to be a Democrat or a liberal. Same with your justice system and your education system, and your health system and your legal system, and your humanitarian groups and your humanitarian rights and all that. Stripping it back to the basics and starting again. And how you do that, I don't know. How you guys do that, I don't know, because you're so toxic. It's, you're so toxic and out of control that it's got to get worse before it gets better. It's got to take another 9/11 or something like that, maybe even worse, something cataclysmic that's got to wake you, snap you out of that, like shock you out of what's going on over there to go, right, we're screwed. That's what I see with what I understand of it from the outside, looking in on you guys. It's like you guys are so close to it. It's like you can't see the forest for the trees. Where I'm back from it, I can see it, the big picture of it, and it just, man, every part of your society is so screwed up, and in some way, there's no substance, there's no grit or reality to anything that matters over there, and or if there is, it's loose. You're not tied to the flagpole, man. You're blowing in the breeze, wherever the breeze blows, and it's right throughout every part of your society. And I'm sure there's people over there who know what I'm talking about, and damned if they do and damned if they don't. Like over here, I'm so fortunate to be living in Australia because we are tied to the flagpole. We're not blowing in the breeze. We got solid ground with our justice system, with our political system, with our health system, with our education system, with our humanitarian organisations. We leave no one behind. Like if you can't get a job, there's there's pensions, there's Centrelink, where you get a certain amount of money each fortnight, um, and all the like the legal system, the justice system, the health system, the education system, the political system, all that absorbs the cost. There's government housing where people only pay a fraction of the rent that they can't afford housing, so they're not living on the street, and society absorbs the cost of all that, so that they can pay $75 a fortnight instead of $450 a fortnight. If somebody's got cancer or some child or grown up's got major injuries, they only have to pay a fraction of what it would cost to get what they needed done to be taken care of and brought back to health again, and all the systems and departments absorb the majority of the cost so they can get the health care and the attention they need. Same with the education system, that if kids can't afford school books or clothes, there's charities and there's systems put in place so that the parents can help get that money or to get uniforms or whatever it is they need, so that their kid, whether they're well off or not, has as much chance as everybody else to get a decent education. And that's right through our society. But over there in America, it's not like that, because there's no money in that for you guys. Your systems are so corrupt and so dysfunctional and lost any ground, any base, any well and true and well and tried formula to make it solid, to make it have substance. That you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, you guys lost the wheel, man, and you're just out there. And we're not. There's no extremes over here. I can do what I want pretty much when I want. I can afford to get what I want when I want, pretty much when I want. And if I can't, I know I've got other options. So there's no desperation over here. There's and we don't talk about politics all the time. We don't talk about race or there might be some discussions about politics or about people's rights or Aboriginal rights or whatever, and then people might agree to disagree, but then we're okay with that. We don't have to shove our opinions down somebody else's throat. It's like, yeah, okay, cool, no worries, I agree, I believe this and you believe that, no worries. What are we doing now? Right, yeah, let's stop talking about this. Let's get on to living life and having a good time. We're over there. It's just that you guys have got no truth or sense of self or sense of society or what it really means to be American to hang to, that you'll just hang on to anything, just to be part of the herd, to be part of something, regardless of what it is. Your society is just it's like be part of the latest fad that's got no solid ground to it. It's got no substance or truth or honesty to it. It's just floating in the breeze. And what's popular this year? What gets the most likes and pats on the back this year? There's no reality in any of it. It's just sitting over here going, far out, man. It's just, it's great. Why is America great? Because we rock and we're flag-waving patriots. Well, what's that mean? I don't bloody know, but I'm doing it anyway. I really feel for you, man. And I feel sorry for you. And like I said, I think you guys are well out of control, and I'm sure. And I'm not talking about American people. Yeah, like you get all the extremists, but like there's millions of rational, well balanced Americans who understand what I'm saying, regardless whether they're Democrat or Republican, or whether they vote or not, or whether they're just a down to earth, grounded human being over there. But to have that in your face every day, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you deal with that. Especially knowing that there's bugger all you can do to change it. It's like this train's out of control, man, and it's ran off the tracks ages ago, crashing into everything, running over everything. And you just sit back and watch it roll, knowing that there's nothing you can do to change it. Just creating destruction wherever it goes. That's some wild living over there, man, I tell you. But anyway, that's enough from me being on about it. But yeah, just to see it, how it is over there. It's really sad. And I wish you well with it. And yeah, like if you've got something to say, by all means, but keep it real. If you're some extreme left or right, and you just want to spew out your toxic ideology and toxic views, then I'll delete it. I'm not interested in that nonsense. Or if you're some transgender deluded, I'm not interested in what you have to say, and your agenda or to hear your delusion or read it, and I'll delete that also. This is for the people that are affected by all that nonsense, to get it off their chest and have a safe place to put it. Knowing that I'll monitor it and that I'll delete anything that isn't about that. And for the women and girls over there that are having their sport of choice invaded by men, and their privacy stripped away by those deluded blokes being allowed in their dressing room and change rooms. And if you got any ideas for because like I said, I don't see how you guys, that train's out of control, and they say about a society that if it doesn't sort itself out, then it implodes and tears itself apart. And the way I see that, the only choice you got is to strip everything back to its bare basics and start again. And maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, maybe you see another way forward that's rational and common sense. And if you got that, then by all means, share about it. I'd love to hear it and to read it. So, yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all the best, and have a peaceful, loving, and warm Christmas and New Year's. And yeah, take care and bye for now.